everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Treats on the Streets. My name is Gavin, and unfortunately we do have some bad weather today. Just earlier today, about 3 or 4 hours ago, it was snowing really hard. So the weather here is all over the place, unfortunately. So we're stuck in the garage today. Outside it's super windy still, so there'd be a lot of wind noise. But this gives us a good opportunity to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, something that I get a lot of questions about, and that is kind of a build list or kind of a build breakdown like they do on Hooligans of all the stuff that I've done to the car. Now, I don't want to go over every single little thing, so today this is going to be a snapshot of my favorite mods that I've done to the car, the things that have made me really just learn to love the car even more as I continue to modify it. Possibly these things are maybe even the reason why I've decided that I am never going to sell this thing, because I love it so much. That's not to say that the only reason that I like the car is because I've modified it. The car is really good stock, and you really don't need to do anything to it to be able to enjoy it and have a lot of fun driving it. It's really great out of the box. But with the modifying mentality that I have, I love tinkering with cars. I love doing things to make them handle more the way that I want, drive more the way that I want, sound more the way that I want, and look more the way that I want. You guys all pretty much modify cars. You know what I'm talking about. But don't think that I'm saying that you have to modify these to make them awesome. With everything that I've done, I do want to mention that this car is a 1999, has 77,000 miles currently, only had 71,000 when I bought it. So with every mod that I've done, I've really tried to make sure that the car stays looking clean. I don't really like to do anything too wild or too out of the box. I just try to keep things tasteful and try not to ruin the value too much. So what do you say we dive into things? I'm going to go ahead and actually start from the outside first. We'll kind of go over all the things that I've done that you can see from the exterior. Then we'll move to the interior, and then after that, we'll of course go to some more performance mods that we can see under the hood, underneath the car, and things like that. So first of all, for the outside, right when I first got the car, I do really like the silver in contrast with the dark stuff, the black. All these cool little trim pieces that come around here, the front lip that I ended up putting onto the car. So in theme with the whole contrast thing, I like to darken the stuff that's dark, and I think it just makes the car look a little more aggressive. So in line with that, let's go over the stuff that I've done that I think have made the car look a lot better for my personal taste. First, we'll start with the front. One of the first things that I did, even before I had the car, because I had to ship it from Michigan, is I bought these black grills. They came with chrome around them originally, and I wanted some black ones, and I really like them. By the way, I should mention that I've pretty much made videos of everything that I've done to this car. So if you're a newer subscriber and you haven't seen those things, everything that I talk about, if I've made a video about it, you're gonna see in a card above, something will pop up. You can click on that video if you're curious to kind of see more about it or how much it costs or where I got it from, just details about it. So go ahead and check those out too. So anyways, we have the grills. Now we're gonna move on to something that we did a little more recently, and that is this front lip. I really like how it sticks out just a little more aggressive. I like that it's not too crazy, and it looks just kind of like a more aggressive OEM M3 lip, even though it's not. I also have these ambers a little smoked out, so they're a bit darker, as well as the fog lights and the headlights. Now the fog lights and the headlights both have Laminex tint on them. I really recommend Laminex. Their product is a little bit thicker, it goes on smoother, doesn't really show any creases or anything, and especially if you have glass headlights like these ones, this film on the front, which is the tint color, helps protect them from getting cracked when rocks hit either your fog lights or your headlights. Speaking of these headlights, they are probably the #1 question that I get about the car. These halos, no, they did not come as a separate piece that you put into the headlights that you already have. These are Depot glass lens headlights with LED angel eyes. And the tail lights. It's kind of hard to see now, maybe not actually, but these are, I think, the Euro style tail lights where this whole top piece is kind of clear. But I went ahead and taped these off and smoked the top to make that look a little bit darker too. And to finish off the looks with the rear, I had this little trunk lip spoiler put on. I think it's really unique. I haven't seen anyone else running this, and I like it because it's not too big, not too small, and it looks like it could be something that may have come on the car from the factory. Now the next topic is kind of looks, but kind of performance too, because I don't know, it kind of dips into each other with how they function. So I want to go ahead and talk about what I did with the wheels and the spacers. So you can see They're set up a lot more flush than if it were just a stock setup. Even the rears are more flush than they were stock. Still not like super close to the fender or anything. I haven't had to roll them. I may do that in the future. But what I did was I took the 7.5-inch wheels from the front and put them in the back, and the 8.5-inch wheels from the back and put them in the front. That may seem a little odd to do with a rear-wheel drive car, unless you like to do what I do, which is drift the crap out of this thing and do donuts. So it's pretty common with drifting to have more grip in the front and less in the rear, and doing that, allow that to happen. To make things fit better, I put some VAC 8mm spacers up front, along with some VAC hub extenders, which I recommend for sure, because those hub extenders help those smaller spacers not have any vibration. And in the rear, I have 12mm spacers, and that allowed my setup with what I have to look like this. In line with the wheels and the tires, you may notice that it looks a little bit lower than the stock M3s, and that's because I have Megan Spec RS coilovers on this car. I love the way these coilovers handle. They have independent reservoirs for the compression and for the rebound. You can adjust them separately. I think they're really good quality. They don't make a lot of noise, they don't creak or rattle, and I've had them on the car for about a year now. They're my favorite coilovers that I've had so far. So check out the Megan Spec RS coilovers. I have to say that coilovers are probably one of my favorite mods that you can do to any car if you like to drive it hard and rip through canyons like I do. These have adjustable camber plates on top. What I noticed with the coilovers, the car is more responsive in the turns, it handles a lot better at high speeds, and just made the grip levels of the car that much higher. I love them. Now that we've kind of covered everything on the outside, let's hop to the inside. Now, I personally haven't done anything really to the inside of the car. Any of the mods that were done in here were done before I had it, but that doesn't mean I can't love them. So, one of the most unique that I haven't really seen anywhere else are these VDO gauges down here. The one on the left is for voltage, the one in the middle is for oil pressure, the one on the right is oil temperature. They're cool because VDO, if you don't know, have supplied OEM gauges for cars like the BMW Z3M Coupe, and because of that, the font is the same that you'll find on the gauge cluster up here, and so is the needle color and the color of the lights. Let me see if I can turn them on. The same orange that you find up here is going to be the orange that you see down there. The only other kind of interior mod that I want to mention besides these gauges has to do with the shifter. So we have this genuine ZHP shift knob. You can see there's like the aluminum along the bottom. The leather on it feels really good. The size of it in your hand is awesome. I really like the shape. And the car also has a short throw shift kit, which makes the car shift a little bit more notchy than what you'd find stock. I like the shorter throw, and I personally like the notchier feel that you get from this short shift kit. So now that we've gone over the exterior and stuff that I've done, the interior of the car, and I've dabbled a little bit into performance stuff, let's talk more on that, on the performance. Which of course to me is definitely one of the more important parts. On to the performance. Let's talk about sound. So this one has the Dinan catback exhaust. You can kind of see the tips right there. I'll play a little clip so you can hear what that sounds like. And speaking of Dinan, there's more goodies under the hood. It came with the Dinan cold air intake, which is the carbon fiber. I don't even think they make that anymore, so you're lucky if you have one. It has the bigger MAF and this Dinan strut tower brace along with suspension. It has, I believe, the Turner Motorsports sway bars. And one more little piece of Dinan goodness if you look right here. This vehicle is equipped with performance software. Before performing an EEPROM update to the engine or transmission ECU, please call Dinan Engineering. So it does have a Dinan tune, which I might be switching out for an RK Tunes tune, so stay tuned for that. Now, If you've been a subscriber to the channel for a while, you will know that I do not baby this car. Yes, I take really good care of it. When repairs need to get done, I take care of them, and I change the oil very often, probably every 2,000 miles. I really do treat it well, but I bought this car to have fun with it, so I drive it hard. And with that said, you definitely have to do some things to make sure that it can run well as it's running hard. So along with that, I have to say that another one of my big favorite things that I've done to the car so far that has helped it stay running so strong and so well without having any problems are the upgrades that I've done to the cooling system. So what I have right here is an aluminum Mishimoto radiator. Behind that, I have a Mishimoto electric fan. And inside of this housing, I have a Mishimoto thermostat. All that stuff, when you're pushing these cars hard, if you know E36s, you know that the cooling system can be a weakness. Oh, by the way, I can't forget, I've also done a water pump with the metal impeller. Basically went through all the cooling system. If you buy an E36, you should do all this stuff anyways. If you know E36s, you know that cooling can be their weakness, and so you need to make sure to take care of that stuff. So aside from all this engine stuff, back to suspension, there's a few more things that I want to mention that have to do with handling. Number one being bushings. I have polyurethane bushings for the transmission, polyurethane engine mounts, polyurethane front control arm bushings, polyurethane rear trailing arm bushings, and I do want to do the polyurethane bushings all for the rear differential and the rear subframe. I haven't done that yet, but I definitely will. All that stuff that I've done has just made the car feel a little more responsive, a little tighter, give you a little more communication when you're driving. I realize that this kind of stuff isn't for everyone and that some people like the comfort that comes from the rubber bushings, but I'll sacrifice a little bit of the comfort to have that performance. I'm okay with that personally. And another big one is one that is not that common, and that is when I put the E34 steering joint in this car. This is what that steering joint looks like, and it replaces this kind of rubber donut that comes in the car. And what this did, what I noticed, is that it kind of got rid of a lot of the rubberiness that you feel in the steering of the E36 from the factory. It's a really great mod. It's super cheap. You can do it yourself, so check that one out too. All right, guys, with all of that stuff said and done, there's been a lot of stuff that I've done to this car since I bought it. Everything that I've done, I've liked a lot. And this is just a testament to how great this chassis and this platform is. You know, sometimes when you do mods, it starts to point out a lot of weaknesses that it has, but everything that I've done has just made this car better and better and shown me how much potential is in this chassis. It's really obvious why so many people use these cars for racing, why so many people use these cars for drifting, and all kinds of motorsports. They're great platforms, and they're only getting more popular. So I want to thank you all for joining me today for yet another video. I hope you all liked it, and I hope it kind of gave you some insight into some things about the car, especially if you're a new subscriber. If you guys liked the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Holy shit! 596, 583.